You know when you're looking at a set of data, maybe it's student grades, stock prices, whatever, and there's almost always one or 2 points that just don't seem to fit in. They just stand out. Well, those are called outliers, and trust me, understanding them is a massive skill in data science.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get a solid definition of what an outlier actually is. Then, we'll dig into why you should even care about them. After that, we're going to look at the 4 main causes. I'll give you a perfect, exam-ready summary. And finally, a super simple memory trick to help you remember it all.
Okay, first things first. What exactly are we talking about when we use the word outlier? Let's define it properly. I mean, think about it this way. Imagine a whole crowd of people just walking down the street. The outlier, that's the one person sprinting. It's that single data point that just completely breaks the pattern. It makes you stop and go, huh, what's going on there?
Okay, so for the official textbook definition, the one you'll want for your notes, an outlier is a data value that is very, very different from the rest of the data. It's that point that's just lying way out there, far away from the main group.
Let's make this super clear with a quick example. Have a look at this list of student marks. See how most of them are kind of clustered together? You've got 45, 50, 52, 48. They're all in that same ballpark. But then you get to the last one, and boom, 95. That score is way different from all the others. It's not just a bit higher, it's in a totally different league. That is our outlier. It's the one that just pops right out at you.
All right, so we can spot them. Big deal, right? Well, yeah, it is a big deal. The question is, why should we care? As it turns out, these odd one-outs data points can have a huge impact on our analysis. Let's look at how.
Okay, and this is the key thing to get. Outliers aren't always just junk data. Sometimes they're a huge red flag, pointing to an error. Other times, they're the most interesting piece of information in the whole dataset. But here's the danger. If you just ignore them, they can totally wreck your results. They can skew your averages, mess up your models, and lead you to the wrong conclusions.
So that leads to the next logical question, right? Where do these things even come from? Are they all just mistakes? Well, not exactly. Let's dig into the 4 main causes.
First up, and probably the most common one you'll see, is a simple data entry error. Seriously, this happens all the time. Someone's typing in numbers, their finger slips, and an extra 0 gets tacked on the end. All of a sudden, 50 becomes 500. That's an outlier caused by a simple typo. Usually, you'd investigate this, find the mistake, and either fix it or remove it, because that data point isn't real. Okay, cause number 2. Sometimes the person is not the problem. It's the equipment they're using. Just picture a weather sensor that's on the fritz. Out of nowhere, it gives a reading of, 100 degrees Celsius in the middle of winter. That's a measurement error. The instrument itself is broken and created a totally fake data point. And just like a typo, you'd want to get rid of that. All right, now this next one is really important, so listen up. Not all outliers are mistakes. I'll say that again. Not all outliers are mistakes. Sometimes they're completely real and just happen naturally. Think about salaries at a company. You might have a bunch of people making around, say, $50,000 a year. Then you have the CEO who makes $5 million. That CEO salary, that's an outlier. But it's a real, legitimate data point. You can't just delete it. You have to figure out how to deal with it because you know it's going to pull the average salary way, way up. And that brings us to our 4th and final cause, outliers that represent rare, exceptional events. Honestly, these are often the most interesting outliers of all. They signal that something big and unusual just happened. We're talking about things like a fraudulent credit card purchase, a sudden stock market crash, or a major security breach. These aren't errors to be cleaned up. They're signals you need to pay attention to. A lot of the time, these are the outliers you're actually trying to find. All right, that was a lot to take in. So for all of you studying for exams, you're probably thinking, how do I boil this down into a solid answer? Don't worry, I got you. Let's craft that perfect summary sentence. Here it is. Get ready to write this down. This is the sentence you want. Outliers are caused by measurement errors, data entry mistakes, natural variation in data, and rare or exceptional events. Bam! It hits all 4 causes we talked about. It's concise, it's accurate, it's the perfect answer. Okay, but let's be real. Remembering a full sentence when the clock is ticking in an exam, that can be tough. So I've got a little memory trick for you that'll make it super easy to recall those 4 causes. All you have to remember is one simple word. M-E-N-R. Men. R. Yeah, it's not a real word, but who cares? Each letter is a trigger for one of the causes. Think of it as your secret code to nail this question every time. Let's break it down. M is for measurement error. E is for entry error. N is for natural variation. And R is for rare events. MENR. One more time, measurement, entry, natural, rare. If you can just remember MENR, you'll be able to list all 4 causes, no sweat.
So there you have it. We've defined outliers, we've seen why they matter, and we know where they come from. Now, the next time you look at a dataset, you won't just see a spreadsheet full of numbers. You'll be able to see the story, the pattern, and most importantly, the things that break the pattern. And when you spot that outlier, you'll know to ask the most important question. Is this just a mistake I need to fix? Or is this the most interesting discovery in the entire dataset?